Excuse me, I was waiting here.
Where? I didn't see you.
I've been standing here for the last 10 minutes.
I won't be long.
That's not the point. The point is, I was here first.
Well, if you were here first, you'd be holding the phone.
You know, we're living in a society. We're supposed to act in a civilized way. Does she care? No. Does anyone ever display the slightest sensitivity over the problems of a fellow individual? No. No. A resounding no.
Hey, sorry I took so long.
Oh, that's okay, really. Don't worry.
For my first video, I wanted to do something neutral and lighthearted. Growing up, my parents used to watch and listen to the best of what pop culture had to offer. One gem I ended up loving more with age, kind of like a wine, was Seinfeld. I always knew it was a good show, but there were still so much good shows as a kid distracting me from diving into Larry David's world. Now that I'm older and everything sucks, I'm glad I saved certain shows, because honestly I'm about to run out of things to watch. So why a video on my boy George? Well, George, he's all of us. He's the everyday guy. That's why we like him. But the thing about George is that he reminds us of us, or people in our lives. A lot of stuff we find him do in the show that's considered funny are just things that people would look down on in society. Yeah, we want to see George win because we're living in his reality and we see his problems in certain situations through his perspective. You see, George's whole persona is basically pointing out corrupt systems and how you can never win, and for that reason, why try or bother? Also, he likes to see how much he can get for very little, in most things he does. You see, George goes through great lengths to lie and cheat to get out of certain situations or even get into certain situations, when he could have just been upfront and said what was on his mind and stand by the courage of his conviction. The problem is George always has a reason as for why he can't win or go on the offensive, when he could have used all that thinking and real displays of courage and confidence throughout the show in certain situations.
Look at these salesmen. The only thing these guys fear is the walkout. No matter what they say, you say, I'll walk out of here right now.
Can I help you with something?
Hold it! One more step and we're walking!
If he could just hone all that in, he would be reaching his full potential, and thus realizing it's not the status of elites or heads of broken institutions that are making it impossible for him to win. It's the combination of all those things and factors, and George ultimately deciding to give up and not bet on himself, causing him to waste all those talents on playing catch-up. The show does a great example of proving that if George were to really stand on his word and speak his mind and go after what he wants, he would win. And you see that in the episodes, George does the opposite. In this episode, George is pressured by his friends in, I would say, a good way to break out of his comfort zone. Once his friend Elaine notices a girl staring at him, and George immediately explains why he can't.
That woman just looked at you.
So what? What am I supposed to do?
Go talk to her.
Elaine, bald men with no jobs and no money who live with their parents don't approach strange women.
Well, here's your chance to try the opposite. Instead of tuna salad and being intimidated by women, chicken salad and going right up to them.
Yeah, I should do the opposite. I should.
If every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right.
Yes, I will do the opposite. I used to sit here and do nothing and regret it for the rest of the day. So now I will do the opposite and I will do something. Excuse me, I couldn't help but notice that you were looking in my direction.
Oh, yes, I was. You just ordered the same exact lunch as me.
My name is George. I'm unemployed and I live with my parents.
I'm Victoria. Hi.
Now it takes him seeing that everything he did up until this point has served him no advantage to get ahead, so he thinks he has nothing to lose by approaching this girl. Throughout the episode, you see him stand up to various archetypes of people from different institutions and levels of powers in society. When previously interacting with these kinds of people in his life, he would never speak to them in the way he does in this episode. You can say it's a buildup of everything he's been feeling when having to deal with these emotions he keeps so bottled up. A perfect example of this is when he stands up to the owner of the Yankees and tells him how he feels about the team and how it's being managed.
Mr. Steinbrenner, sir. There's someone here I'd like you to meet. This is Mr. Costanza. He's one of the applicants.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I wish I could say the same, but I must say, with all due respect, I find it very hard to see the logic behind some of the moves you have made with this fine organization. In the past 20 years, you have caused myself and the city of New York a good deal of distress, as we have watched you take our beloved Yankees and reduce them to a laughingstock, all for the glorification of your massive ego.
Hire this man.
Bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that nobody really has their story written until they submit it or give up to something. That could be submitting to a goal, or worship, or meditation, a mission, anything. Or just plain old giving up and believing life is an endless merry-go-round of suffering. Even George points it out and has to make it known to everyone that he's suffering almost every other episode. To just see that, it's just like, it just reminds me of this Nietzsche quote that made me really want to do this video. It's something that I really do live by a lot. He just talks about suffering, and he says, to live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. So I guess what he's trying to say is that suffering is inevitable, so you better do something that matters to you to keep going. And to do that, you're gonna have to dig your heels in the dirt and take a stand. I like characters like George because there's a lot you can learn from people who make mistakes, and George has taught me how ugly a real lack of patience and trust and hope for humanity can be. Nobody wants to be with someone so negative, platonically or romantically. I find myself being negative in regular convos on the latest TV, film, music, pop culture pieces because I think a lot of stuff sucks these days or is super watered down. And I've seen too many great pieces of work to settle for what the market is being flooded with today. But I'll still try to throw in something like, oh, I understand what the artist was trying to do, or I'll say something complimentary. But I'm not a total Simon Cowell. But yeah, at the end of the day, just be patient, take your time, slow down. Honestly, I want to keep doing more of these. It's fun. Like, honestly, it keeps me on the right path. So yeah, if you took something from this, leave a like and a sub, because I really hope to keep making more of these videos that dive deeper than this. This is just the first one. And even just make videos that just, start combos in the comments. I don't even really, I guess likes do help the algorithm, but I care more about comments, like seeing how, conversations, just stem off from other conversations or other points, and just piggybacking off of other things. And I like conversation. So, I just want this to be a channel where it's just, an idea channel where we can share. So if you're asking me if I care about the comments, yeah, I do care. But not in that way. I just like to see people just really engaging in a healthy way. I got more videos on other opinions. So yeah, they'll be coming out soon. And yeah, that's it. Peace.
Jerry, just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.